Hello, everyone. Thank you for pressing play. This is SpeakUponIt, a Pixages digital media production.
Look at what's going on in Europe. Massive spikes. They've done a very good job, but now you take a look today at the UK, you take a look at Spain and France and Italy. There's tremendous spikes.
But our death rate is worse than, well, not Spain, but those other countries.
I have things right here that will tell you exactly the opposite.
If you lose, how will you use your platform to urge President Donald Trump and those rallying behind him towards the ideals of a more perfect union?
Well, to be very honest with you, I think that's very hard. He is not, things have not lent themselves to him learning from what's happened, what's gone before. Instead of being chastened by being one of the few presidents, the only president to be impeached and then have a member of his own party vote to expel him, it emboldened him. So, but what I will do, hopefully I'll go back to being a professor at the University of Pennsylvania and making the case that I've been made and at the Biden Institute at the University of Delaware, focusing on these same issues relating to what constitutes decency and honor in this country.
Last night, in an effort to engage voters, the president and the vice president held separate town halls. Understanding that there are many opinions on this, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to open up another line of discussion and see where we can get as far as understanding one another a little more. Both of these events were scheduled after the traditional debate was no longer considered possible. This was based on the president's health and, honestly, his temperament. You know, in the first debate, I understand that he cut people off a lot and, you know, he wouldn't stop talking and was considered to be combative. And so it makes sense to me that they want to switch up the rules a little bit, especially coming after being diagnosed with the coronavirus. I also understand Joe Biden not necessarily wanting to be in the building with a man that has been diagnosed with coronavirus and has behaved so carelessly in regards to his ability to spread this. So the president's event lasted about an hour, while the vice president or former vice president's event lasted about 2. If I was looking at this from an outside or unbiased perspective, and I was watching this for the first time, I would say that when I watched Trump, he seemed to be an individual who is quite defensive, spending a large amount of his time complaining about and giving examples of how unfairly he's been treated. You know, from a position of leadership, in my opinion, that's not necessarily how you want to present yourself. Although you may be describing many great feats, you are presenting yourself as a weak individual when there are so many mechanisms in place to make you unsuccessful. At any rate, looking at Biden's unbiasedly, I would say that, you know, I would honestly prefer not to hear so many anecdotal stories about your coming up. And I mean, I understand that you're using this to give us examples of your character and show true places to which we can relate. But it gets a little old, Joe.
As a kid, I moved from Scranton, where there were no African Americans, and moved down to Claymont, Delaware, and in Delaware we have the 8th largest black population as a percent of population. It was an epiphany for me, seeing what was going on, and I got deeply involved. I'm no great shakes. I don't mean I wasn't John Lewis. I don't mean to imply that, but it's the thing that's motivated. My dad used to have an expression, for real. He said, "Everyone's entitled to be treated with dignity. Everybody." And it was real. Everybody is. And so whether I'm a defeated candidate for president back teaching or I'm elected president, it is a major element of everything that I'm about because it reflects who we are as a nation. And it's what makes us, this is every single solitary generation.
So, we can, just talk about what your plans are to make things better, understanding that what you say is that you come from a place where making things better is just the right thing to do. So with that, it was a quite different tone, I thought, and and that is the truth and reality and self-proclaimed benefit of a Trump event. It's more intense and more dynamic and overall more quote unquote fun. Whereas Biden's event seemed to be a little more pensive, more thoughtful. They had an event for 2 hours, and I didn't at any point feel as though someone was uncomfortable. I didn't at any point feel as though someone was upset or angry. And it's good to be able to have discussions that aren't also including the anxiety that's related to someone getting offended or someone wanting so vehemently to prove to you that they're right that you lose track of the discussion. So did it help? I'm not 100% sure if it helped Joe Biden in any way other than it gave him another chance to be able to show the people who are going to be supporting him simply because he's not Trump. It gave him the ability to show them that, yes, he can sit down and hold a conversation about these topics and not, doze off or go into a world of make-believe or whatever it is people were afraid Joe Biden was going to do. And I say that as a person who is afraid of Joe Biden talking for too long. And that goes back to what I said earlier about the stories, man. Stop telling so many stories. Just talk more about, how you intend to lead, what plans you intend to put into action, what policies you want to support and champion, and how we're going to, again, come together and do something positive, as opposed to what we've been doing for so very long. And just to add to that, I'm not one of those people that considers the age of Obama to be a great period. When Obama first got elected and everyone was talking about us living in a post-racial America, I wasn't that person. I am not the individual who was always applauding the works of Obama simply because he was a black man and was talking correctly. I had my beefs with some of the stuff that was going on with Obama, just like I had my beefs with some of the stuff that Clinton did, just like I have my beefs with what Bush did and especially what the current president is doing. There's no question about what side of this I stand on. But it did help me see that the man can sit down and have a discussion about real topics and talk about them in a way that gives confidence that something in our interests will be done about each and every one of those subjects. I will say that in a couple of places, he did seem to veer away from truly answering the question that was asked of him and going into a point about how Trump is not this or how Trump is not that. And in some cases, I understand that's the position you have to take. But in others, it would be much more preferable if the individual would simply answer the question and maybe just say less about the subject if there aren't very many positive things that they can say. With that being said, I did like the response that was given in reference to what the plan was for action, even if he doesn't get elected. The truth of the matter is it'll be very hard for anyone that is not the president to fight Donald Trump as the president with his positions and thinking on racial issues. His answer is always law and order, supporting the police. And, you just can't work with someone of that perspective if you don't have equal power or leverage in order to make some type of change. So there were differences in the tone. And I do think that the things that were discussed at Donald Trump's event were things that an individual that supports Trump would like to hear his answers on.
Why aren't you asking me about Antifa? Why aren't you asking me about the radical left? Why aren't you asking Joe Biden questions about why doesn't he condemn Antifa? Why does he say it doesn't exist?
Because you're here before me.
No, that's so cute.
I don't believe that as a person that was on the fence, quote unquote, that I heard anything that would have made me say, oh, okay, well, I will vote for this individual based on anything that was said there. But, maybe I just wasn't looking at it through the right lens. In my opinion, there was far too much time spent blaming other people for things that happened to him. There was far too much energy spent talking about things that were unrelated to the question asked. It still sounded like he was coming from a place of, hey, if you let me in, hey, if I get elected, this is what I'm willing to do. Which kind of brings me to the next point that I want to talk about. But please let me know what you thought about the town halls if you watched either one of them. Another last note that I wanted to make is I saw somewhere that the viewership for the first event was far longer, the shorter event. The viewership for the Trump event was much higher than that of the Joe Biden event. And, a lot of that is probably going to have to do with the fact that, people just wanted to see, a show, and they already know who they're going to vote for. I have already made my decision on who I'm going to vote for. I watched both of them because, again, I'm trying to see what they're going to say. And then, my intention is to watch what they do. So I hope that you do as well, and look forward to anything you have to say. Let me know down in the comments if you have differences of opinion. If you did watch it, let me know your favorite parts, or if you found anything interesting, or if you found anything contradictory in what you saw. Feel free to comment down below. And if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Also subscribe and hit the notification.